Welcome to the special edition of the BFT Chat. Today we are speaking to the U.S. Ambassador to Ghana, that is His Excellency Robert Porter Jackson. And we're going to be talking about the American National Day, which is coming on the 4th of July 2017. He's my guest on the show today. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador, for joining us on the BFT Chat. And the American National Day is coming up this year as well. But one may ask, when you see the American National Day, what exactly are you talking about?
Well, thank you, Norman. It's a pleasure to be with you. This year we're celebrating 241 years of independence. And the United States is very excited about that long history. It's a history that has not been without its challenges and adversity, but I think one of America's great strengths is that we've overcome adversity time and time again, and we're looking forward to celebrating another year of independence and another year of freedom and democracy.
I see. And how is the day marked back home?
So back home, ever since the early 1800s, maybe even before, but ever since the early 1800s, it's been marked by parades, fireworks, and picnics. And that's pretty much how we will mark it here as well, with no parade, but certainly fireworks and food.
I see. So you're looking to meet with other ambassadors and then members of the government and some other invited guests.
We'll have a significant number of Ghanaians as well as the diplomatic corps and other friends here with us. This is an important occasion for us to thank people for their friendship and cooperation over the course of the last year. Last year we had over 1,800 guests. I'm expecting another sizable turnout this year, and very excited about hosting people again and sharing a bit of America with them.
I see. How would you describe your bilateral relations with Ghana over the years?
I think they're excellent. We have a very strong relationship in so many areas. We have been friends with Ghana since before Ghana's independence. And over the last 60 years, we have been great partners. The theme of our celebration this year is partnership through development. And that, to me, underscores exactly what we're trying to accomplish here. We are working with Ghanaians to make this a stronger country that, as President Kufuor has said, will not be aid dependent. Even in my swearing-in ceremony, I talked about the importance of moving beyond aid, and I think together the United States and Ghana can accomplish that.
I see. When you look at the cooperation between the two countries, you as an ambassador to Ghana and represent the people of America, what are your key areas that you are focusing on? And one of them, which you just said, that you are looking at Ghana beyond aid. But what are the key sectors of our economy that you're looking at helping us to be able to strengthen in our cooperation?
So, in terms of our cooperation, on average, we're providing about $260 million a year in assistance. So over 1 billion cedis a year. The largest part of that is our investment in the energy sector through the Millennium Challenge Corporation. And I believe that at the end of the 5-year compact, we will see an energy sector that is more reliable, more affordable, and provides the industrial base on which Ghana can build so that it will move toward one district, one factory. Second area is health. We invest about $75 million a year in health, especially in combating malaria, which kills far more Ghanaians than HIV/AIDS, but we're also working on HIV/AIDS. Next, we are investing in agriculture, and that's part of our effort to grow the economy. Our agricultural investment this year will be approximately $38 million.
Because of the plentiful food and agriculture?
Because of our Feed the Future program. But it complements the Planting for Food and Agriculture. And I've talked to the Minister of Agriculture, and I think that we have found areas where we complement each other. We've been working for a number of years in making certain that the quality and quantity of Ghana's cocoa production increases. We've been working on providing better varieties of seeds, such as maize and other staples, and we'll continue that work. So after energy, health, and agriculture, we have education. Last year we distributed over 2 million books to every public elementary school in the country. This year we will be distributing over 1 million books, building on that to continue to help children with their reading and providing them the opportunity to perfect their knowledge of their own native languages, as well as moving into English. And last but not least, we're active on the governance front. Last year we invested over $7 million in Ghana's elections. This year we have really turned our focus toward combating corruption, which is also a priority of the new government, and so I think the work is very complementary. I should mention that we also have a robust program for training and equipping Ghana's military, and that will continue. And we are seeing an important number of exchanges. This year, about 80 Ghanaians will go to the United States on exchange programs. Some will go for a degree, some will go for 6 weeks as part of the Washington Mandela Fellows Program, better known as the Young African Leaders Initiative, which was started by President Obama. And some will go for 3-week international visitor leader programs. But all of those exchanges contribute to understanding the United States and hopefully give people a boost in their professional fields.
Now, you talked about corruption being one area you're helping to combat. Are you surprised, that's a follow-up question, at some of the stories we're hearing in terms of government agencies and what is happening there with regards to how monies are getting into individuals' pockets?
I'm not surprised, I'm disappointed would be the right word. And I would like to see the appointment of a special prosecutor sooner rather than later. Not because I wish to see anyone in jail, but the fact that people are not being prosecuted sends a message that you can get away with robbery, and that's not acceptable. The United States people donated more than $7 million worth of goods, which went up in flames at the Tema Central Medical stores. People have been indicted, but they have not yet stood trial. I would like to see them called to account for what appears to have been deliberately planned arson to hide theft.
Do you think that the government is being slow in dealing with these issues which are so important to the American embassy and the American people?
What I hope the government is doing is being very deliberate, that it's building cases that will stand up in court. I think we'll find out together.
Sure. How does all this impact on investments coming from the American side?
So, in the time I've been here, we've had 8 American companies invest in Ghana. Everything from large industrial groups like Procter & Gamble, to the transportation ride-sharing service Uber, to a small company that does medical testing. We've seen Pizza Hut open here. We've seen 2 other American chains open in the food services industry, and we'll be having another pizza company opening next month. So In fact, for part of our National Day, that company will be distributing pizza. So there is growing American interest in investing in Ghana, but it's important to keep in mind that U.S. investment here dates back decades, and we're looking at well over 10 billion would be dollars that's been invested by American companies in Ghana today.
How would you explain your quest to deepen the kind of relationship that you enjoy with Ghana?
So I have been very focused on the energy issues as we discussed, but what I would like to see more of on both sides is the expansion of the trade relationship. I believe that if we can expand the trade relationship, it will lead to more travel between our two countries for business people. Our trade relationship is modest. Last year, it was heavily in favor of the United States. Total trade was about $1.1 billion. That's down for the second year in a row. We had reached a high of about $1.4 billion a few years ago. And because of the declining growth in Ghana's own economy, there was less demand for the machinery and autos that are the biggest parts of our exports. But I'm hoping this year we'll see that trend reversed. And we see a lot of opportunities for Ghanaian exports in the textile and apparel area, in agro-industry. There's more room for growth in cocoa, but also for shea and cashew and some of the other crops that have not gotten the attention that cocoa does.
What are the things that we're not doing right that is probably not helping us to be able to export much to the U.S.? And you think that, look, you know what, do these things right, and your export levels will go up?
So that's a great question, and I'm not sure I have a complete answer, but the things that I notice are that people are rewarded more for trading in cocoa and cashews than they are for producing and adding value. The tax policy needs to change. And if government really wants one factory in every district, it needs to make available space. Land issues here are very important. The chiefs control so much of the land. I think most chiefs want to see factories in their areas, but translating that into setting aside a specific area that everyone can agree upon can be difficult. Here in Accra, we believe the textile sector can expand greatly. We have suggested to the Ministry of Trade areas that should and could be set aside for more textile production, and the government is looking at that, and I hope that they will act on it sooner rather than later.
You talk about our tax system. I want to clearly understand, is it that people have been overtaxed, or we have very few people who are paying the taxes, so we need to widen the tax net?
So you need to widen the tax net for sure. However, if you are a trader in cocoa, and I am someone who's buying cocoa and making it into cocoa paste or chocolates, your taxes are less than my taxes. That's backward. I should be rewarded for producing something and adding value to it. And I'm not saying you should be penalized, but I certainly shouldn't be taxed at a higher rate, which is currently the case.
I see. Mr. Ambassador, you also talked about another area that is of interest to us, the energy sector.
Yes.
I mean, we know that the biggest story in that area has to do with the MCC, the Minimum Challenge Account, the media people trying their best to ensure that this thing hits the ground running and all that. Would you say that we have unduly delayed in ensuring that we get work done? Because wherever we've gotten to, we could have been somewhere last year, October.
So I think there have been some unnecessary delays along the way under the previous government and under the current government. The current government understandably wanted to analyze the compact, look at it, make some suggestions about what they thought was best for the country. I understand that. We finally had the bidders conference for the 5 consortia who are all foreign companies, but not American companies among them. Now we're waiting for the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission to make the tariff methodology available to those companies so that they can finalize their bids. And as soon as that happens, I think we will be ready to move ahead with the concession to run ECG being in place by September of next year, 2018.
You talk of some few American companies, I mean about 8 of them since your assuming office as an ambassador were established here. Now, from where you sit, I mean, how would you say, or let's look at it this way, what has been the performance of American companies? Are you satisfied with them, those operating in Ghana?
I'm very proud of the American companies that are working here. They do a lot of technology transfer. Very few of their employees are expatriates. In nearly every case, a Ghanaian is running the local operation, which shows that we have great confidence in our Ghanaian partners. It also underscores that unlike some other countries that bring in a lot of foreign labor, that's not the way U.S. companies operate. There are American expatriates here, absolutely, but they are a tiny percentage of the overall effort. And we have been equally proud of the corporate social responsibility programs that these companies have launched. In agriculture, in entrepreneurship, they're doing a lot of things to help people who are not working for them to get opportunities.
I see. Well, have you had any of them come to you with challenges to the extent that they say, you know what, we'd like to go back home. We think we can't fit in?
Since I have been here, no, we have not had those challenges. The issue that I hear about most is around tax issues. And we have been working with the Ghana Revenue Authority and Ministry of Finance to make certain that those issues do not become hindrances to investment.
I see. And just as we're trying to wrap up, what are the new areas that you will be looking at exploring going forward?
So I'm very excited about agro-industry. I'm also very excited about growing our entrepreneurship programs. This year, 40 Washington Mandela Fellows are going to the United States. Many of them are either social or company entrepreneurs. I was just talking with my staff this morning about this year's Global Entrepreneurship Summit, and I think that there's so much creativity in this country. If we can help with some training and identify some possible sources of financing, that can also help the country to prosper.
What is your estimation of the Ghana American Relations in the next 5 years? Where do you want to see our relationship?
So I want to see our relationship build on the very strong foundation that we already have, but I especially want to see our trade relationship expand. I set a personal goal of seeing our trade double during my tenure here. I have not done as well on that front as I would like, but I'm going to keep trying. But in areas beyond trade, I think we have so many areas where we agree, where we work together well in international organizations, where we share common values and common interests. So I'm looking forward to seeing the entire relationship evolve, and I do believe that our energy investment will yield huge dividends in that 5-year period.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Ambassador, for speaking to us.
It's a pleasure.
That's it for the BFT Chat. Today with me, Norvan Akohe, for joining us again next time for another interesting interview. You never know who is coming next.